I think it's fair to say that LEGO has kind of been slacking in the original IP department for some time now. Themes like Star Wars and Marvel are going crazy of course, and even LEGO's original themes like Ninjago and Friends are still bestsellers. But LEGO hasn't launched a non-licensed IP that lasted longer than 3 years in more than a decade, ignoring Monkey Kid, which I'll get to later. So today I want to look at the reason why most original LEGO themes suck these days. Now, when I'm talking about LEGO themes not being as good as they used to be, I'm mostly talking about fan reception. Whether they sell well or not doesn't necessarily define their status in the LEGO community. Even the worst themes got their runtimes of 3 years, unlike some of the greatest ones. But what do I mean when I talk about great themes? When you hear someone talk about original LEGO IPs, chances are they're not going to say Hidden Side or Nexonites. Sure, in 10 years younger generations might look back at those themes fondly, but looking at it in the present, both themes have seemingly slipped from everyone's consciousness. If you ask someone to name an original LEGO theme, they're most likely to answer with something like Ninjago, Power Miners or Bionicle. Some of them even ascended the LEGO community and have become mainstream names, the best example being Ninjago even receiving its own cinematic movie in 2017. But why do these themes hold such a grasp on fans while new IPs consistently struggle to find their footing? If you ask me, it's because LEGO's original themes can't seem to find their own look anymore. Now, what do I mean by that? For that answer, let's look at the original waves of a few LEGO themes from the mid-2000s to early 2010s, and then at some waves of modern themes. I've chosen Ninjago, Atlantis and Power Miners for the first category. Let's start with Ninjago. When looking at it, something becomes immediately obvious: the clear distinction of characters. It's ninjas versus skeletons, which means the builds consist of skeleton vehicles and set pieces, as well as the ninjas' dragons and their buildings. The skeleton builds all include some rendition of a skull and the color scheme of black and purple. The ninjas' builds resemble the traditional East Asian architecture, and the dragons are, well, dragons. These distinct styles mean that you are instantly able to recognize who's fighting who, as well as being able to see what theme they were from by builds and minifigures. We can spot this exact phenomenon when looking at Power Miners 2. Every build represents a technological, far advanced mining vehicle. It's not something we immediately recognize from our own world, but it's something we can understand, especially since it's got such a distinct look made up of light green and orange. The figures are also immediately recognizable. You have the rock monsters on one side and the miners wearing a mix of blue and grey on the other side. And again, same thing with Atlantis. It's set in an underwater world which is populated by scientists and scary looking sea creatures. Good and bad guys become immediately obvious again, and the scientists in their grey and green outfits are very recognizable, even today. The builds consist of the scientists' very technological vehicles, while the sea creatures were supported by even larger brick-built sea monsters. Red and green was the color scheme for the good guys, black for the bad guys. Very distinguishable, and again, everybody knew which theme they belonged to. So what has changed? Looking at two modern themes that aren't living up to the standards set by these older ones, let's look at Monkey Kid and Dreams. Dream sets have only been out for a little while, but already people aren't the biggest fans, and I think Dreams shows that lack of direction better than any other theme. Looking at the build, I wouldn't call a single one bad particularly, but I also wouldn't recognize a lot of them as being part of the same theme. The first Dream set comes with our main character and a huge bunny companion that slides on rollerblades apparently. The color scheme consists of mostly blue and pink, and the single tiny bad guy appearing in the set comes in black and purple. So for the rest of the theme we will see mystical animals in blue and pink and a fantasy world fighting against black and purple creatures, right? Well, in the next set we have a green and white robot. Okay, so maybe it's a mix of futuristic and fantasy elements, and that's a turtle with a van on its back. I think you see the lack of direction here. No one knows what's going on here. The sets reach from mystical fairy places to spaceships. The only consistent element is the color scheme of the bad guys. Similar thing with Monkey Kid. On the one hand you have mystical heaven-like places, and then you have a fortress which is simultaneously a truck. Every character has its own color that intertwines with one another, and overall it's just a headache. But unlike Dreams, which I think will sell like garbage, Monkey Kid has a target group, that being East Asia. Monkey Kid is the best-selling theme in China and East Asia. For one, it's based on a Chinese legend, which explains some of its success, but China was also by far the first country that got the Monkey Kid TV show. And now I want to bring up another point that I didn't even think of, but BuzzBrick here brought up. LEGO themes are too specific these days. Old themes gave you a world in which you could make up whatever story you wanted. You got some Ninjago sets, make up a story of ninjas fighting skeletons. You got a new Power Miner set, act like they just found whatever monster came with the set. But why do I have to watch a show to understand why a crocodile car, together with Mr. Oz's space bus, should fight the nightmare shark ship? I sound like an insane person right now. Now, I asked a few other community members on why they thought LEGO's original IPs were on the decline, and the topic of apps and TV shows was brought up a few times, as well as the general out-of-touchness by LEGO. But a few others also said that the themes are on the same level as back then, and that nostalgia might be a blinding factor here, and that might also very well be true. I also want to say that not every failed theme failed because of the reason I discussed in this video. Hidden Side and Exonites both had their very own look and weren't too over-specific, but failed because of forceful inclusions of new technologies or straight up shit ideas. But tell me what you think about this topic. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and to see you in the next one, goodbye!